Now, the first thing that you are going to look at is this particular line, and it has a down drop. You can click, and once you click, you can note that we have the option of creating a line segment. Before we proceed there, let me proceed and right click, and I'm going to hide the build panel because we are concerned with the draw panel. So we are using AutoCAD LT. This of course is the kind of ribbon that you expect. So to start with, we are going to look at the line, and there it is. I'm going to click to activate it. So make sure to proceed and click to activate it. That is one of the options that we have, and it is a very simple option. After you activate the line, you can now proceed and add it to the drawing space. And you should note that once an object is active, your crosshair is going to have that kind of a symbol. But of course, if for example I press escape, if an object is not active at all, then the crosshair is going to have that particular uh, square at the center or at the intersection. So note the two modes. So this mode that you can see currently is called the selection mode, and once you activate an object, then you are going to have the input mode or the drawing mode, where you can now proceed and draw the object that you have activated. So with the line work, I can now proceed and start placing. Now before even you start placing, you can try to check, or you can try to look at this particular command line, and there are some instruction there that comes or that pops up once you activate it. So you specify the first point. That is of course what we are supposed to do. So you specify the first point by clicking. So you click to specify the first point. And then if you check the command line, there it is going to tell you to specify the next point. So you can specify the next point like that, and it is going to as well proceed and tell you to specify the next point until you are now satisfied. You can place as many segments as you can wish. Yeah. Now we also have an option of crossing. So the crossing option is going to terminate the progress of the placement. So I can decide to click on cross here, and once you click on cross, you can note that it is going to cross this one. It is going to cross from the first point and the last point, and it is going to terminate the placement. Now let me just proceed and click at the line work once again to activate that particular tool. I can click to start placing, as you can see, like that, and then you can decide to use undo. So it is going to remove the last added point. So I can proceed and click at undo, and you can note that the last added point is going to be removed like that. Now at the command line here, you can note that the start of these particular words or these particular commands, we have a letter. It can be a letter or a number of letters that are actually shown in some blue color. So other than proceeding and clicking, you can just proceed and type in the letter or the letters that are actually shown in blue to use that particular command. For example, I can just type U on my keyboard and then press enter, and it is going to undo. I can decide to type cross. So I just need to type in cross and then press enter, and now you can note that the option of crossing have been executed. So that is what we have found, and also it is also important that you note that we have the command line there, and the command line has some commands, and of course it gives some directions. So I can click to start placing the first point. You can decide to undo with this one. We don't have the option of crossing, so you can specify the next point or you undo. So if you don't want to undo, you can now proceed and click. Now you may want to have a straight line, or you may want to constrain this particular line into a straight line. You can hold down your shift, and you can note that the movement of the cursor is going to be restrained uh, orthogonally, like it is going to restrain it horizontally in a straight line, or else in okay, vertically like that, as you can see, or restrain it along the x-axis and also along the y-axis. So that is will be the case once you hold down your shift key. So mine currently, I've hold down my shift key, and it is actually activating the option of drawing in a straight line. Again, we are not able to see the trackers, so in this case we need to activate the trackers like that, so that you can be in a position to know whether you are on a straight line like that. So make sure that you have that particular toggle on. We can now proceed and click, and you may undo or else proceed. It is important, or it is recommended, that you have these particular trackers, the polar trackers on, so that you can know when you are actually drawing on a straight line. It is going to be easier like that. I can add this point. I can even proceed and generate a tracker here, so that I can know that I'm actually at an alignment of this point. You use the snaps, so I can proceed and snap at this point, and once you generate a snap, you can note that a line is going to proceed, or is going to extend. And let me generate it once again. It's going to extend, and now you can be sure that you are actually at this point. Now you may decide to close once you are there. Click on that, or else you type C on your keyboard and then you press enter. So of course we have drawn this kind of geometry using the line work. Now when you are working with the line work, you may also, when you are working with this particular line tool, you may also want to use the dynamic input. So there we have the option of activating the dynamic input. If it is not on, make sure to have it on. And with this one, if I click to start placing, I can precisely decide the length of this particular line. So probably I want it to be 15,000. It will be very exact. I can type in 15,000 and then you press enter. The next segment, there it is. I'm going to type in 15,000 and then press enter like that. Now you can proceed and add the next segment. With this one, I'm going to generate a reference line at this point, so that I can be sure that I'm actually at an alignment of this point. To generate it like that, click at this point, and then we can proceed and finish like that. So once you are done, you can press enter like that. So again, with the line, we have noted that we can use the enter, and of course the enter key is a very general way of terminating what you are doing or what you are adding. For example, if I'm adding a line, so if I click to add the line, I can proceed and do like that. Probably you don't want to close, probably I want it to end at this point, so I may generate this reference like that, and then I click. Probably you don't want to close it, so what you can do is to press enter, and once you press enter, you're going to stop the placement, and the object or what you have added is going to be shown like that. So also, of course, that is also important that we note. Now when you are working with the line, I proceed to view. So in this case, I've proceeded and click at this point. I'm going to click in the view cube, so click at this particular point to generate an isometric view. Now when you are working with the line, we should note that you can add a vertical line, that is a line that is actually vertical. It is along the Z axis. Now for that to be possible, I click at this point, you have to make sure that you have the polar shown. For example, currently you can note that there's some text popping up, 45 degrees, whatever, specify next point. So there is that particular option. You may note that there is polar showing, popping up, there is some polar popping up, and there's something like plus Z. You have to make sure that you have plus Z and they are shown. Sometimes it is plus Z, and sometimes it is minus Z. So if you're moving downward, it is going to show minus Z. Probably right now it is not showing, but of course when we move it upward, you're going to note plus Z. Once you note the plus Z is there, you can now proceed and click. For example, it is there, I can click, and then I can press enter. So the line is going to be added vertically to this drawing space, as you can see. So that is also something that we should note concerning the line.